yeah, ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
The world has just changed so radically, and we're all running to catch up. How can we possibly have the slightest idea of what to expect? With the best intentions, some of the worst things imaginable are being done with the best intentions.
Dr. Malcolm, here to share a few campfire stories with my uncle.
You can convince the Washington Post and the Skeptical Inquirer of whatever you want. But I was there, I know what happened, and so do you. I don't think you're giving us our due credit. Our scientists have done things which nobody's ever done before.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could that they didn't stop to think if they should.
Hello, welcome to the March issue of Jurassic Minutes, where we discuss recent movie, toy and franchise news for the Jurassic series. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And today we're a week late, but we're still coming in with the March news, and we're going to talk a little bit about a new TV series that's possibly in development, a new art book, finally, David, we've been waiting for that, and everything that's been shut down because of that virus that we will surely talk about towards the end of the show. But all that and a lot more coming up on this month's show. Getting straight into some news, a big happy birthday this past week to Robert Bakker. Born March 25th, 1945. I'm not going to do the math, but he had a birthday this week. A well-known name in the franchise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be, 85, I think, almost, wouldn't it?
Again, I'm not doing the math, because I'll get it wrong.
It'd be... I'm sorry, 75. Yeah, he's 75. Somebody else, I believe, also celebrated a birthday recently, I think. I think we both know him.
Oh, myself?
Yeah. Happy birthday, man.
That's alright. I was going to bring it up. Yes, again, not doing the math and calculating how many days it is. It's just another year older. That's great. Birthdays all round.
Mm-hmm.
How long do we have to wait for yours? What month?
Another year. Mine passed back in February.
Oh, happy birthday for February, Dave.
I think we talked about it back then. I'm not sure.
Oh, everything's going on.
When we did our February news.
My memory's gone.
Hold on to your butts.
Something else that's gone too. Jurassic Park Builder has officially closed its doors. I remember playing it when it first came out. I sort of got off the bandwagon when it changed over to the Jurassic World Builder and the whole Dino battles and Dino Arena stuff. Dave, did you have much gaming time with Park Builder?
I never got into it. And I do not really get into mobile games all that much, so that was, it seemed kind of, I don't know if you call it chibi styled or not. But, I just didn't really care for the animation style and how kind of, I much prefer Evolution.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, plus the whole pay-to-play and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly, yeah. I've heard many people griping about how you gotta, pay to boost your park, pay to get a T-Rex, pay to get this and that, and it just seemed... I'm not Luddy as money bank.
Well, I remember too. There was some issues with some people with their accounts where they'd just go and log in one day and the account was gone, or all that money in that was gone, and they'd have to try and get it back somehow, contacting the developer and all that, trying to.
Yes, I have heard that too.
I can't believe it's been going for 8 years. Look at one of the comments here. 8 years of play, so.
Yeah, true.
It probably lasted a lot longer than what a lot of mobile games did, or would have.
Yeah, that means it came out in 2012, didn't it?
You'd have to have around there somewhere.
Yeah.
Once we start getting excited for Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But no, rest in peace, Jurassic Park Builder.
Jurassic World Builder, I believe, is still up, though, isn't it?
I'd assume so. It'd still start while the franchise was in, you'd think anyway.
Yeah.
Because I still see people with evolved animals posting up on Facebook and that from Builder.
Mm-hmm.
All the fluoro-coloured animals and everything else, so people are still having fun with it. And probably still spending a lot of money on cash.
Due to technical difficulties, all our exhibits are now closed. please disembark all rides and return to the resort.
David, we've been wanting some sort of table book for the series now for a while. On Twitter, someone asked Colin along the lines if there was some sort of book coming, and he'd sort of hinted that it was a collaboration with him and Bayona were working on one. The comment was, or the question was, more for the Jurassic World series, so I'm pretty sure we mentioned something about this last minute, so I remember talking about this in news, whether it was going to contain to Park and World, or just World, or all 6 films.
Yeah, this one, I mean, I am, like you said, we've been wanting it for a long time here, and, excuse me, and it's just, like you said, is it going to be all 6 movies, just the last 3? I'm hoping, personally, for all 6, but kind of expecting only just the last 3, just the World films. But regardless, it should be fantastic. I mean, we do have, admittedly, the making of books for a lot of concept art that has been released for the first 2 movies, at least, not for the third, which sadly remains to be the least the movie with the least amount of behind-the-scenes material available.
Yeah, and recently I've been posting up concept art for Jurassic World on the Facebook page, just as we lead up to the start of the minutes recaps, and even we were talking with as Fallen Kingdom was going into high gear and into production, just some of the concept art coming out of that, the animals running through the fire, and all that sort of fantastic art there as well. So it would be great to have a physical book. You'd be able to go through and look all that stuff, and not just a hard drive. And
personally, myself, I mean, I just got the Rise of Skywalker art book in, and unfortunately, a majority of it, like the Last Jedi art book, is kind of just finished product in concept art form, and I'm kind of hoping that they don't do that with this, because there is already a lot of great, fantastic earlier stage concept art available for Jurassic World that has been released by the artists themselves, and so I'm really kind of hoping that they go all out and show some of the earlier script stuff that we've already seen, but just in a higher available quality.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk in a minute about some concept art that's never been released before by some of the artists, and it's going to be an issue, especially if it's sort of looking the next 12 months or so, if it doesn't come out before Dominion, because a lot of times when these art books come out, if there's a movie that's about to come out as well, there's not going to feature a lot on that, with maybe aside for some production images and that, as you're saying. The Rise of Skywalker would be the same. Like, when it was printed, the film probably hadn't been released yet, so spoilers.
Well, I believe that it was the Rise of Skywalker one was originally pegged to be released concurrently with the movie, like I think the day or a couple of days after the movie released in the theaters internationally. But then they held it back until the end of March, and I think a lot of fans were expecting, so they're going to be putting in some of that secret stuff that. So, like, I'm not going to... okay, I'll spoil Rise of Skywalker.
I think everyone that wanted to see it, seen it.
Palpatine Returns. That's kind of been known since the first trailer dropped. But, yeah, a lot of people were kind of hoping, maybe they'd be putting some of that in there. But they never did. It's not in the art book. It's not in the visual dictionary. It's kind of like, well, where's Palpatine? He's like the major part of this movie here, you know?
It's funny you mentioned that.
And probably, like, one of the best parts of the movie is just missing.
Yeah.
From the art book and the visual dictionary.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of movie review podcasts, especially if those fans of the series, and that when they were reviewing Rise of Skywalker, saying, well, I don't know how this happened or how that happened, I'll just have to wait for the art book, and as you're now saying, well, those answers aren't in the book at all, which is a shame.
Yeah, apparently the novelization has been the whole filler for that movie.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they don't do that with this art book that's coming up, because, like I said, I mean, we've seen the finished product. We don't need to see the finished product drawn. We want to see all that crazy, wacky, oddball stuff that didn't make it into the movie. You know?
Yep. Do you have that art book handy?
It just came out the 31st, and I've got it on my shelf now.
How many pages do you reckon's in there?
Let me check.
Because that probably focuses on the one film, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more pages than what you'd have for a trilogy look at book. Because I'm just one comment here from Hong Lee, a friend of ours, is sort of saying he didn't really want all 6 movies or even all 3 movies in the one book, just because you're not going to get a lot from each movie. It's going to be sort of.
I just checked. There's 250 pages in the book itself. All of them have full spread, or not full spread, but all of them have pictures on the pages. So we can probably expect, if it's going to be 3 of that, we could probably expect at least twice the size of that book, maybe 500 pages. Any more than that, and it's going to be just a special edition Bible, and they're not going to be able to sell that in stores, honestly.
Yeah.
I have the one that they put out for just Ralph McQuarrie's art for Star Wars, and that thing is literally its weight in its size in bricks. The thing's gigantic. It probably does weigh at least as much as a cinder block. I gotta say, the thing is huge.
I wonder if you could have that much content for the trilogy, because there's probably not the same amount of characters, costumes, vehicles, all that sort of thing.
Well, that's another thing, true. Of the stuff that has been released, we do know that it is probably per film not as much as they could per film with Star Wars. Because, as you said, not as many characters, not as many, all of that, vehicles, designs, places.
Locations, yeah.
They kind of break it down by places, characters, costumes, props, and especially with Jurassic World alone, I mean, you had basically one major setting, and that was Isla Nublar, and then with Fallen Kingdom, you had basically 2 major settings, Isla Nublar and the Lockwood Mansion.
Yeah, and as you recently posted on Facebook, they all look the same. Very, very similar anyway on the island.
Well, I mean, okay, this is a bit of a tangent rant, but yes.
Let's do it.
Spielberg creating... What's that?
Do it.
Spielberg creating Jurassic Park in Isla Nublar, or Isla Nublar for Jurassic Park, was 3 different islands to create the entire kind of thing. They had, what was it? Oahu, Maui, and Kauai. Kauai, of course, being the main island that had probably 90% of the settings, but even then, it's spread almost across it is spread entirely across the entire island. And then you have Jurassic World, and it's this one small corner of Oahu. And it's basically the same corner of one mountain range as the backdrop as the entire island. It's like, that's not diverse. You got the same mountain in the background of every scene. How is that diversity? You know?
Yep. And even then going into Lost World, adding Eureka and that to it as well. Just, yeah. Yep. No, good tangent. So I'm hoping, and we'll get to current world events and that a little bit later, but I'd imagine a lot of the table book you could be doing at home on a computer, people researching or putting stuff together, so he's hoping this is something that's not going to be delayed.
Yeah, I am too. At this point, and we'll talk about this more when we get to it, but because Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has already been delayed, but as far as I know, Trevorrow is still hoping to stick with the release date that they currently have set. So, fingers crossed they don't rush everything and try to get it all done, and that they do take their time and do it right. You know, This is if this is to be the last movie, then let's make it right.
Yep.
Go in and document. What do you mean, like with people?
All right. Moving on to some concept art that's recently been released online. Richard Delgado, concept artist for Jurassic Park 3, has found some old sketches in his sketchbook, apparently, and posted some up online of the lab production floor from Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, Ricardo Delgado has been very good at kind of releasing his personal archives of his concept art for pretty much a lot of his movies. He even had a Tumblr at one point, but I haven't checked it in a while. I don't even know if he even keeps up on it anymore. But yeah, he's did a lot of work, a lot of concept and storyboard sketches. So we do have a lot of that he's released. And so he's released 3 pieces just as of now. One with the, you said the lab concept art, which was 2 of them, and another one with raptors kind of sneaking around the lab. And he's kind of just got some pen sketches of those, which are really cool. Because, I mean, like this first one that you have here linked, where you see the backdrop of the lab, and it's the bubble hatchers with on one side split by a hallway with a stairway at the end on the side of it. And the other side looks like incubation tubes, and the incubators is these robotic arms. Looks very, very close to the finished results of the finished movie.
Yeah, and it sort of harkens a lot to what I envisioned for when we're going through the lab in Lost World too. Just the robotic arms, the production lines. We don't see any conveyor belts crisscrossing here and that, but just again the sheer industrial look of it all. Massive tanks over on the left, filled with fluids, waters, whatever that is. But it's again, it's just great to see some of this stuff emerging that we've never seen before. And again, as you said earlier, for one of the films that probably has the least amount of behind-the-scenes stuff available for it.
Yeah. Well, I think I've mentioned before how Delgado has been kind of one of those godsends in that he's released so much material that would otherwise probably have never seen the day of light, or the light of day.
I'm just trying to find those other... I had a link to the
Let me send you the other one.
Oh wow! I've just seen. I went to his Facebook page and they got the Yoda puppet here on his shoulder.
Yeah, the one you have posted here, that's like one of the main shots, and he's got another shot here that's kind of a not really sure what you call a menagerie, I guess you could call it, shot. And then they got another one where you see them running from the raptors that are kind of trapped by the machinery.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool because it looks like it's clearly from the time before Joe Johnston kind of came on, and they were deciding, let's scrap these designs and go with the ones that we got in the movie, because these clearly look like they're meant to be the original first 2 raptor designs. And you see the one raptor running after everybody fleeing, and then another raptor trapped. Looks like he's stuck between 2 of the incubators, which is something that we actually got in the movie. So that's kind of cool to see, too.
Yeah, it's very similar to the raptor getting Ellie in the maintenance shed, just coming between the pipes there and getting caught up in amongst it. But like there's that one, and the multi-image one, just the different perspectives looking down. Maybe they were just sort of showing what the set was going to look like, but there's a couple here up in the roof area too. Like maybe the chase would have been up there to escape the raptors, or.
Well, there are actually quite a few production photos from the second level that we never actually really got to see, which is interesting because it looks like because the way that they built the set looks like they meant to explore it far more than what they actually did. And it said in the movie it just goes from this is how you created dinosaurs. Rawr.
Run. Yeah,
Run.
Outside we talked a lot about that and our disappointment with that. Even the top right image sort of it almost sets up the frame when they do run out of that area and into the kennels and the raptors chasing behind. Also interesting, the bottom one there sort of almost looks like the Spinosaur, a very brief outline of the Spinosaur maybe.
Well, I'm sure that this one here was like one of those putting ideas to paper, you know. I mean, that's a lot of what concept artists do is they're given the script and they're told, let your imagination go wild. What do you see here? You know? And then it's up to the prop departments and the set department's job to create what that concept artist sees.
Yeah, and I say Spinosaur. At that point, it may have even been the Baryonyx and not the Spinosaur, but it is dated May of 2000, so it's odd that a year before release date they're doing concept art and not actually starting production.
Yeah. Well, remember, there's another thing, though, is it was written basically on the fly, and so they didn't have a really, truly prepared dialogue script. They had an idea of what they wanted, and beyond that, I think back in 2000 they were still advertising the Baryonyx, because there's the double feature box set. What was that? The collector's box set or something, collector's edition box set that they released with the first two movies on either VHS or DVD with the special features. Mm-hmm. And I remember the advertisements for it saying, being advertised, live feed to the set of Jurassic Park 3. And it was the Baryonyx logo.
Mm. Yeah, that logo got around a bit back then. Mm-hmm. Mm. But anyway, I hope there's more to come out of this, and even some of the other artists on the films. As we were saying before, the tabletop book, I could have a book of this sort of stuff across the films as well.
Yeah. And that's another thing I'm kind of hoping that they're doing with this book here, is reaching out to the various artists like Delgado and everybody else. Who was the big Crash McCreary? Hoping that they're reaching out to all these guys, saying, "Hey, putting an art book together. If there's anything you want released, if you want the public to see, now's the time."
I could just take a Crash book covering Lost World and Jurassic Park.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
John Bell art that he did for the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But then, of course, you'd want the miniatures in there as well for Lost World.
This is how you make dinosaurs?
No. This is how you play God.
Moving on, the fan community was blown away by news of a Jurassic World live-action TV series going into development from Amblin Television, which I didn't know was a thing before now, which, looking here, I don't think it is still a thing. It's just they're developing Amblin Television. Their first project's going to be an Untitled Jurassic World Series.
This one I am kind of more or less wary about, because it doesn't really... Jurassic Outpost doesn't really put a source on this, as they're often not to do. And so I'm kind of just like, okay, maybe I do know that NBC is developing their own streaming service called Peacock. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to be released anywhere, it will probably be there. But at the same time, I mean, there's been rumblings of a Jurassic Park live action series since the first Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah.
Honestly. And so it's kind of one of those, like how I felt with Jurassic World. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, well, like the biggest issue with this here, just reading through it, is they reckon it's going to tie into Dominion. If it's going to tie, at least season 1, tie into Dominion, then it really needs to be out before Dominion is now, again.
Yeah.
And
I don't see that happening. No. Especially not concurrently with Camp Cretaceous, which is already slated to be put out, I think, isn't it sometime either late this year or early next?
Well, it's meant to be August, I think, August or November, but again, we'll get to that in a minute with what may be going on there, virus-related. But, if it's in development, it's in development. It should be further along than just development stage if it's going to try and come out.
Yeah.
Because Battle at Big Rock come out just long enough after Fallen Kingdom to be still tied into that as more of a, well, this is what's happened because of the events of Fallen Kingdom, not what's going to be happening into Dominion, because we're still 2.5-3 years away from it. So it'll be interesting. I think Camp Cretaceous is going to show us more of that day in the life on Isla Nublar while Jurassic World's operating. I don't even know what they'll do.
I've heard that Camp Cretaceous is meant to be directly after, and it's going to be like the pilot is supposed to be concurrent with Jurassic World, and then the series thereafter is supposed to be the survivors stranded on the island.
Well, we're going to see a lot of the park before what we see in Fallen Kingdom. I mean, like
true.
I'm sure, whether it's just the pilot or the first episode or two, where we're going to see park in operation before everything goes to crap. But yeah, don't really know how here's a 10 episode series of just Jurassic World in operation, or dinosaur attacks across the world like what we see in those closing credits of Battle at Big Rock, how they'd go for a TV series. Because you need to get more than just fans on board for this, otherwise you're not going to get the ratings you need to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Evacuate the island.
We'd never reopen.
And then things started to happen. David, even after our last record, things seemed to be okay for both of us, virus related. As soon as we finished recording last time, I got a phone call from my brother saying it's all gone to poop. Turn on the news, and fair enough, there was warnings of border closures, full shutdowns, everything. So around that time too, and we were leaving it for the news, we got word that Dominion had stopped production. At the time it had halted, and even now it's just postponed. As you said before, Colin's hoping to get the ball rolling again soon, but
yeah,
it's joined a lot of other films, TV series, everything really that's just stopped right where it is, and there's going to be a big hole in pop culture and that for the foreseeable future, I can see.
Yeah, a lot of movies from NBC and Disney and Fox and, well, all of them really have all just stopped. Nobody's doing anything right now. Nobody's making movies, nobody's really releasing movies. Theaters are empty. In my side, at least, they have the borders are shut down. In interstate travel is shut down. We're not allowed to leave the state at all. They're trying to prevent people from kind of going outside a lot, which is failing miserably because people are stuck at home, and then they're like, grocery stores are still open, let's go shopping. Let's take all the family and the dog too.
Well, yeah, just to get outside and do something different for once.
Exactly. And he's like, would you just stay home, people? Find a 7-season series to binge on Netflix or something. Just stay home. I mean, it's ridiculous. Some of you may know I work at a hardware store, and it's just, oh my God, people, you don't need mulch right now. If you can go 2 weeks without it, stay home, please. For the love of God, stay home. I have chemical burns on my arm from the bleach that I'm just constantly inhaling. I'm constantly spraying. I'm inhaling bleach fumes, and it's giving me a cough.
Yeah, I'd assume it'd be the same there. There's no general consensus on what necessary services is. Some people think X is an essential service, other people think something is or isn't. Again, we've got the whole, stay at home, don't go out unless you absolutely have to, travel bans and everything else, but it never come in as strict as what they were first saying, which has been good, because if I got to cross the border every day for work, and if I got to show my pay slip or something to say, yes, I work across here every time.
That's something they gave to me at my workplace too, was these slips of paper saying that we're an essential business, that hardware stores are an essential business, and that we're allowed to be out going to and from work. You know?
Yep.
But everybody's out. And my company has just been horrible at dealing with this in general. They're like, our rival company, Home Depot, has been, they finally went and they closed all of their sales. They limited all of their sale. No, they just cut all of the sales. No more sales. They're limiting how many people can come into a store. I think it's at like 100 people per store. And then they're limiting hours. And my company is just not doing that. They're letting people, as many people as they want, come in. They finally just last week just decided that we're worth it to give hazard pay to. And they finally just cut the hours down to 7 p.m. And I mean, it's just, they still have their big spring sale going on. It's just, this is the thing. They're not doing the things that matter.
Yeah,
is the problem.
Yep. Like my place, I work in an abattoirs, and a lot of people think meat is an essential service. I can go a week without having steak or something. But yeah, it's a food production sort of service, so it's essential there too. But like the hardware and that, like, tradespeople, like people, builders and all that, are still doing work. Yes, they should have access to building supplies and that, but as you said before, no one needs to be out mulching their lawns because they're stuck at home at the moment, or mulching gardens, or doing home repairs or anything else because you're stuck at home, because that leads to then you hurting yourself and having to go into triage or anything else, and the bouncing ball effect just keeps on going.
Well, here in Illinois, the governor shut down all non-essential businesses, so only grocery stores, hardware stores, vehicle maintenance stores, hospitals, emergency services, they're still open. They're still open, but everything else is closed, including construction.
Okay.
I mean, this is springtime in Illinois. Normally, Illinois has two seasons: construction and winter. But there's nothing going on right now.
Well, that's
the thing, and I mean, they don't need to come in and just buy lumber.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if your roof was caving in, yes, you need to come in and buy lumber.
Yeah.
But this isn't that. This is that one guy came by and bought up a bunch of pieces of fencing and said that he's going to chop them up and have his grandkids make birdhouses out of them because they were bored. Again, as I'm coming back, don't come in just because you're bored. Boredom is not an excuse.
Yeah. It's funny here. They're like the same. They've banned any people in park doing yoga classes and all that sort of stuff. Yet construction sites have 20 or 30 guys working close, eating close, and everything else, and that's still allowed to continue. It just makes you wonder sometimes, and just seeing how things are going downhill slightly. But to keep it on topic a little bit, so the production for Dominion stopped, and we knew they were filming sort of plate shots and that in Canada at the time of production stopped. Surely there wouldn't have been too much longer before they started heading to Malta. We know they were filming there, and with everything that's going on over there, it's probably a good thing they didn't get over there when before it all hit the fan, because some of them European countries and Italy and that are really in bad spots. So
I do know that they did finish the Canada unit. They were able to finish that up because Trevorrow did release a image of him starting to edit the film from home, and there was a picture of, I think, Maisie on a bicycle next to a shop window that looked like it had been blown out.
Yep, I do remember someone mentioning that.
And I think they were just starting to get everybody to Malta, because I know that there was multiple people. I think Sam Neill, Daniel Pinata, they were all saying, "All right, we're gonna get started." And then all of a sudden they got the go home order, and they're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So I think Sam Neill and Daniel Pineta, they were both on their way to start filming at Malta when it was decided that no, we're shutting it all down.
Yep. And of course, because that's been shut down, you mentioned it earlier, now they've got time, although Colin's still going for that same release date. I would hope they've got the time now, just go back over the script, look at everything, just give everything another look over, and just nail out any issues, because I don't want it rushed. It's going to come out when it comes out. At least it's sort of heading into the production. There's a few films out there that are done and won't be released. They'll be filling in the gaps once everyone's back to work. In the meantime.
I mean, even if they have to push it off for a whole year, at least we know that they're not going to be. I mean, I'll do 2022 if it means an unrushed, well-made film.
Everyone else is doing it. You don't. Yeah, exactly. Fast and Furious is pushing back to next year with their release of 9. All these big production films push back. So just follow the ball. Do what the others are doing. There's no need to try and rush it. We've seen with Jurassic Park 3 what happened when that went into production without being ready. But like also the Jurassic World live tours, of course, has been shut down and cancelled with all the tours that were going on wherever in the world that's at the moment. Jurassic World, the exhibit, is that still touring?
I don't know. I know Jurassic World live tour was when they started saying that they were canceling dates. I don't think I'm not sure if the exhibition was still touring, but if it was, I would probably say it's not anymore.
Yeah. Camp Cretaceous is going to be a big one. All DreamWorks staff have been shifted to working from home. I don't know if people that work for DreamWorks, the animators and that, have the computer power at home to be able to render or even share what goes on there in doing animation. I don't think it'd be finished yet, and I'd fear for the release day of that, whether or not they'd be able to have it done in time if they're working from home.
Yeah.
So that one's up in the air as well. But, as I said before, the tabletop book, if it's just a matter of calling people and getting art put in and assembled, I'd hope that's not delayed. Something like that comes out in the meantime can keep fans occupied before we get anything movie related.
I was going to say, but even then, if they do have Dominion material in there, I would hope that would be released concurrently with Dominion, you know?
Yep.
So we don't get, like, spoilers or anything.
Yep. I don't know if there's much more we need to discuss on COVID-19. As we're saying, we're both working. It's sort of odd. As much as I'm working, and I wish I was just at home doing nothing like a lot of other people. Well, I'm employed, so I should be grateful.
Yeah, true. I'm thinking the same thing. It's not that I want to be home unemployed. I just want a safer working environment. You know?
Yeah.
They did kind of meet us halfway with the hazard pay, but I just want to be able to go to work and not have to fear that the next person who's going to come up to my line coughing and hacking isn't going to give me the virus. Which I'll admit, I'm young, I'm 27, I have a great immune system, but my parents are both over 60. My dad was an ex-smoker, my mom has asthma. They both are at high risk.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring it home to them.
Yep.
They're the ones I'm afraid of bringing it home to.
That's. I haven't had the flu for 2 years. Immune system's good there, but I do have some lung issues, so I don't know how that'll go. If I get it, I've told the wife I've got the camper here set up for 2 months solar isolation, so I can get in that and leave. But normally, if you've brought it home and by the time you realise you got it, you've probably given it to everyone else as well at home. So.
Well, that's the other thing, is that, it has an incubation period of, I think, 6 or 7 days. So you could have it for a week and be spreading it around and not even realize you have it.
Yeah, plus there's been cases here, too, of people having it and not showing symptoms, so...
Same here. I think that happened to my mom's friend, who... She was at work and she wasn't showing symptoms, but like a week after her work shut down, she started showing symptoms.
Yeah, so one benefit here is the fact that they've been able to, or they're testing some medications and that are currently in existence and not starting from scratch. Because to do a antidote or anything like that, you're looking at 18 months to make, test, manufacture, and 18 months like this, I think there's already big concerns about people's mental health. Bottle shops and alcohol stores are considered essential service, so there's been warnings and limits on how much people can buy alcohol because all that's going to happen. And then, of course, there's the virus boom, as they're calling them, or whatever, the babies that are going to be coming out in December and all that sort of stuff as well. So 18 months of this would be a big issue.
Yeah, they're already talking about, our government passed an economic stimulus because the economy was starting to tank because everybody was freaking out about this. And then they passed a stimulus and things started getting a little bit better, but unemployment is still very high or not very high, but it's already growing because a lot of companies just aren't. They're shutting down and don't know when they're going to reopen, so they're furloughing workers, which basically means they have a job, but they aren't going to get a paycheck and they can't go to work.
Yeah, well, they've just started something similar here where if you have to let workers go, you'll be getting a payment to pay them a set wage for the weeks just to keep them on the books. So that way, when it's all said and done, businesses start back up, you're not going to have this massive recruitment delay and that people are getting paid.
Exactly. Same.
But they're sort of... First, a lot of stuff was, we're just going to postpone to May, end of April, give it 4 weeks and see how it goes. Now they're sort of talking 6 months. I think 2020 is going to be pretty much a write-off for everything. And we mentioned before films being delayed, like it's going to go all the way down. TV, there's no TV in production. There's nothing. If any production anywhere that requires more than 2 or 3 people in one room, it's not happening. So yeah, TV, radio, it's all gone. Television, radio require advertising revenue to stay afloat. That's not coming. But now currently on the radio and TV, there's ads for services that of course they're closed. Even travel services are closed. And given 3 or 4 weeks when that marketing starts to dry up, there's not going to be anything on TV. Again, back to the DVD, back to streaming reruns. That's all. That's all it'll be.
Well, it's not so much a problem here because in North America we have the summer season coming up, so a lot of it's going to be B-roll TV shows and reruns anyway. Yeah. But it's kind of more of a problem for you because you're starting to go into winter, and that's, I don't know if it's the same in Australia, but in America, that's when a lot of shows start showing. That's when a lot of shows come back. They come back from their breaks.
Yeah, well, a lot of them...
people are stuck inside and they've got nothing else to do but watch TV.
Yeah, well, a lot of them start coming back in February, March. And sort of even now, there's the advertising shows, which a lot of the... not so much reality shows, but sort of people in studios doing stuff now that's already pre-recorded, and they're going to have some sort of finale June, July, August. Like those finales, we just finished up Australian Survivor here, and that finale nearly didn't happen because people couldn't travel to get to it. I've heard that the Survivor 40 over there's not going to be an actual finale as well, and that's just reality TV. Apparently, there's four series of Big Brother going on at the moment with people locked away and have no idea what's going on, whether or not they're going to be told. You can just imagine that production come and say, "We got something to tell you." This massive world pandemic. Of course, you're not going to believe it. They may as well come in and tell you that aliens just had landed.
I was going to say it's the caveman coming out of the iceberg.
Yeah. CD.
But thankfully, I mean, like there are a lot of kind of like late night shows and stuff that I like to watch that have like one main person, and they can basically do the show from their home by just extending the monologue and then having a Skype recording of them and of him and like another guest talking over Skype or something like we're doing now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. A lot of people are finding different ways of making use of the situation, being at home and that.
Yeah.
I think Zune or Zoom, whatever they call it, posted last week they never realised that they were a social media platform because now everyone's using their video service to talk to each other and that, which...
Well, that's another thing. Is like, I mean, my mom, she works in billing at a